Chapter 51 Miss Chu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As soon as he said that, Chu Hongxiu's eyes lit up with a glimmer of hope. She looked at Ning Fan like he was her last chance at survival. This creep has been after me for ages. He's willing to sell out his own court to get me. Maybe there's still a way out of this, star. Okay, play along for now. As long as we get the message out, our Donghua army can avoid a trap. Then we'll figure out how to escape. After weighing her options, Chu Hongxiu gave Ning Fan a pitiful smile, a spark in her beautiful eyes. Are you serious, Your Highness? Your Majesty, don't mess with me. Ning Fan gazed at her, desire in his eyes, and chuckled. So, what do you say? Aren't you worried your court will find out, Your Highness? Ha ha ha, I control the entire Jinui. Who's going to tell them? Fine, I agree. A deal. Ning Fan grinned, stepping closer and whispering, I've agreed to let you send the message first, but I can't guarantee it'll arrive in time. Don't worry, Your Highness, I have my ways. Chu Hongxiu winked at her maid, who stepped forward with a cage. Ning Fan's eyes locked on it, a pigeon. But it was much smaller than a regular carrier pigeon. Chu Hongxiu took a pen and paper and slipped the note into the bamboo tube attached to the pigeon's leg. Just as she was about to release it, Ning Fan stopped her. Wait. Regretting it, Your Highness. Chu Hongxiu tensed, clutching her dress. A bead of sweat trickled down her palm. Ning Fan just shook his head, took the pigeon, pulled out the note, and said, just want to make sure you're not playing me, princess. He unfolded the note, revealing a line of elegant script. Dayu is setting a trap. Whining Cede isn't worth taking. Retreat now. Your Highness. I've changed my mind. This affects the future of my kingdom. If the East territory falls, wouldn't Dayu be in danger of extinction? Chu Hongxiu's face paled as Ning Fan spoke. Your Highness, I only told the East Hui army to retreat. At most, Dayu will miss a chance to fight. Oh. Ning Fan's face showed some doubt. You think they'll believe you? Of course. Are you sure? Positive. How long will it take for this spirit pigeon to deliver the message? Half a day at most. All right. Ning Fan grinned, stepping forward to gently lift Chu Hongxiu's chin. I hope Miss Chu will keep her word and return to the palace with me tonight, hee hee. Disgusted, Chu Hongxiu forced a smile and nodded firmly. Don't worry, Your Highness. Although I'm a woman, my word is my bond. Good. Release it. Ning Fan handed the pigeon back to Chu Hongxiu, turned to the Jinui behind him, and said sternly, if word of this leaks, I'll wipe out your entire family. Understand? Yes, sir. Though suspicious, the Jinui nodded instantly. Their loyalty to Ning Fan was absolute, they'd die for him if asked. Go. Chu Hongxiu released the pigeon. Ning Fan finally breathed a sigh of relief, sweat beading on his forehead. That was a close call. Now that Donghuai's own people have helped, with the help of this spirit pigeon, the message can be conveyed in less than half a day, and everything is still in time. This spirit pigeon is a communication godsend in this era. Miss Chu, what kind of spirit pigeon is that? I've never seen one like it. I wouldn't know. Seeing the message sent, Chu Hongxiu's face turned cold. Ning Fan smirked. Jiang Lin marched over. Your Highness, arrest everyone in Hongxiuzhou. Yes, sir. Throw them all in the imperial prison and interrogate them one by one. Better to kill them by mistake than let them go. Yes, sir. Remember, no news about Hongxiuzhou must leak. Yes, sir. Jiang Lin saluted and gave the orders. Chu Hongxiu finally realized something was wrong and frowned at Ning Fan. What about you? Surrender, or fight? However, you just saved the lives of hundreds of thousands of Dayu soldiers. I'll definitely beg my father to be lenient. Hearing Ning Fan's words, Chu Hongxiu's face changed. You lied to me. Dayu didn't see through Donghuai's plan at all. You tricked me on purpose. Huaining City is an empty city now. I ruined a huge opportunity for Donghuai with my own hands. Seeing that Chu Hongxiu finally got it, Ning Fan smiled and nodded. It was just a temporary measure. Don't be angry, Miss Chu. You don't want your Donghuai soldiers to die in battle, and I don't want to watch Dayu's sons die either. You. Wanner, Yuner, kill him. Chu Hongxiu glared at Ning Fan. On her order, the two maids rushed forward, stabbing at him with their short swords. How dare you? Jiang Li roared and charged in with his blade. Dian Wei simply stood guard beside Ning Fan, a smirk on his face. Jiang Li, take them alive. Yes, sir. Though the maids were small, their fighting skills rivaled even the experienced Jinyui. Even Jiang Li couldn't get the upper hand. Chu Hongxiu's eyes flashed, and she vanished, a glint of steel aimed straight at Ning Fan's heart. Little girl. You're underestimating me. Dian Wei chuckled, swinging his twin halberds to block Chu Hongxiu. She faltered, unable to reach Ning Fan. A lie, easy now. We can consider Miss Chu half of your mistress. Yes, my lord. Dian Wei tossed aside his halberds and threw a punch. Chu Hongxiu changed her grip and hurled her dagger at Ning Fan. My lord, watch out. I'm all right. Ning Fan remained unfazed. Dian Wei snatched the dagger out of the air, a hint of anger on his face. You witch. If my lord didn't care for you, I'd beat you to a pulp. Humph. Chu Hongxiu snorted, seeing her maids losing ground. She decided to retreat. Miss Chu, surrender. You're not getting away. Hung Xiuzhou is completely surrounded. Ning Fan grinned. Chu Hongxiu's face turned savage, but then came the hated voice once more. If you try to end your life, I can't guarantee what I might do with your body. For example, strip you naked. Or hang you up somewhere. Chapter 52 Death as a Warning. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing the nasty smirk on Ning Fan's face, Chu Hongxiu bit her lip, humiliation burning in her eyes. Was she even denied the peace of death? Miss, we'll protect you, even if it means killing you. Forget it, Chu Hongxiu sighed, a complicated look on her face as she stared at Ning Fan. Who knew the second prince, that notorious playboy, was actually so cunning? She'd actually fallen for his lies. Who would have thought my half-year plan for Donghuai would unravel because of him, she thought. Now I'm a traitor to Donghuai. What future do I have? I just wonder what he plans to do with me. Ning Fan's gaze boldly raked over Chu Hongxiu, but his eyes held only appreciation, not a hint of lust. He was a completely different person than before. I could use a few more dancers. Miss Chu, why don't you stay at my place for now? How dare you? Chu Hongxiu remained composed, but her maids were livid. Ning Fan simply smiled, gave Chu Hongxiu a long look, then turned and left. Bring all the spies Hongxiu recruited to the Jinyui for interrogation, one by one. Yes, sir. Eastern Territory. On an old road, a squadron of black-armored cavalry thundered past, kicking up dust. At the head rode an old general, spear in hand, armor gleaming. Coo! A carrier pigeon fluttered down from the sky, hovering above the general. His face tightened, and he signaled the column to halt. General, it's the princess's pigeon. Why now? What's changed? The old general frowned, extending his arm. The pigeon landed, and he pulled the message from the tube on its leg. His expression changed. General, what is it? The princess reports Dayu has set an ambush outside Huaining City. What? The generals around him gasped, panic in their eyes. How? Did the intel leak? The general grunted. Message the army, rear guard becomes the vanguard. Retreat 10 miles and set up camp. Send out every scout to probe for enemy activity toward Huaining City. Yes, sir. The old general gazed toward Huaining City, a flicker of frustration in his eyes. Where did we go wrong? Is there a mole in our ranks? Dayu laid a trap. Or was this Dayu's plan from the beginning? Impossible. His second-in-command, hearing him mutter to himself, spoke up. General, how about I lead 3,000 light cavalry to scout ahead? We'll report any movement immediately. No. The general said flatly. If the princess is right, we're deep inside Dayu's territory. If they spring a trap, we're finished. Order the withdrawal. We wait for the scout's report. Yes, sir. Huaining City, a desolate spot in the northwest. Units of black-armored soldiers lay hidden in the trees, crossbows ready, waiting silently. Go. 800 miles to the capital, hurry. A long, drawn-out shout carried on the wind. A middle-aged general in the woods straightened up. He turned to see a rider racing toward them. Report. The Donghuai army bypassed our defenses and attacked Huaining City. We need you to lead the army back to defend it. What? Zhao Changjing, the Duke of Xinghua, looked shaken. Dayu's main forces were out here, waiting to trap Donghuai. But they'd bypassed the ambush to strike Huaining City itself. Huaining City was Dayu's first line of defense in the east, and held vital supplies. If it fell, the consequences would be catastrophic. Who are you? Why are you bringing news from the capital of Donghuai's attack? Reporting, sir. Donghuai used the red sleeves as bait, deliberately leaked false information to the court, so we would set an ambush. It was all a ruse to lure us out of the city so they could seize Huaining City. What are you saying? Zhao Changjing was stunned. Wasn't this ambush His Majesty's trap for Donghuai? How could it be the other way around? Sir, please lead the army back to the city. Who are you? Do you have His Majesty's token? Sir, I am Zhao Yu, a centurion of the Imperial Guard. I have His Majesty's gold medal to prove it. Imperial Guard. Zhao Changjing frowned. Seeing the imperial warrant, he looked even more confused. Did Prince Xing send you? No, Prince Xianyong. Nonsense. Zhao Changjing snapped, his face darkening. Seize him. Of all the princes, only Prince Xing has His Majesty's ear. What a load of bull, this Imperial Guard centurion. Better to be safe than sorry. Hearing this, Zhao Yu cried out, Sir, I really was sent by Prince Xianyong. We don't have time to waste. You don't have to believe me. But we can't wait for the main force of Donghuai to spring the trap. They're already on their way to Huaining City. If the city falls, you know the consequences. Send out scouts to confirm my story. If we don't turn back now, it'll be too late. Zhao Changjing looked thoughtful. This man carried an imperial warrant, so he must be from the capital, but why was it from Prince Xianyong? Wasn't that the capital's notorious playboy? How could he have a warrant from His Majesty? And what was this Jinyui? He'd never heard of it. Seeing Zhao Changjing hesitate, Zhao Yu pulled a short blade from his belt. Zhao Changjing's guards lunged forward. Sir, we can't afford to wait. I'll stake my life on it. Before anyone could react, Zhao Yu plunged the blade into his chest. Zhao Changjing, moved, grabbed his arm. Someone. Yes. Issue my orders. Send out all scouts to patrol the northeastern road. The army will return to Huaining City. If the scouts confirm the main Donghuai force is approaching, summon Duke Ping and Duke Yu to cut off their retreat. Yes, sir. An officer raced away, and dozens of scouts mounted up and rode out. Zhao Changjing turned to the injured man and spoke quietly. You understand, this is a serious matter. I must be cautious. I see your loyalty. If this is true, you'll be a hero of Dayu. I dare not presume. Seeing Zhao Changjing turning the army back, Zhao Yu wept with joy. He saluted. If I can help protect the eastern border, I won't let you down. HM. Sir, I have another matter to report. Chapter 53, Cede Territory for Peace. Ning Fan gets angry. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhao Changjing looked a little suspicious as Zhao Yu pulled a piece of paper from inside his coat and handed it over. The generals from Donghuai on this list. They're all ours. Have someone get in touch. ASAP. Yours. Jinyui. Zhao Yu's face lit up with pride as he said the words Jinyui. What's Jinyui? My lord, Jinyui is our dynasty's newly established intelligence agency. We monitor all officials internally and gather intel on external military matters. We're authorized by the emperor to act first and report later. How is that possible? Zhao Changjing was stunned. How could His Majesty allow an organization like that to exist? Even though he was bewildered, Zhao Changjing still opened the note Zhao Yu had given him. After looking it over, he said in surprise, Are you sure these guys are all yours? I'd stake my life on it, General. Wow. Zhao Changjing took a deep breath, looking shocked. He asked again, You said Jinyui is a new organization established by His Majesty, but everyone on this list is a big shot. How did you guys in Jinyui turn them? We didn't flip them, sir. They were members of Jinyui from the start. Zhao Yu smiled faintly and didn't elaborate. Zhao Changjing gave him a long, hard look. Your boss in Jinyui, is it King Xianyong? That's right. After Zhao Yu confirmed it, Zhao Changjing looked deep in thought. It sounded like things had changed back in the capital. The army galloped toward Huaining City as night began to fall. A scout on horseback came racing up and shouted, Report. The Donghuai army was spotted 50 miles northeast of Huaining City. Boom. At that news, Zhao Changjing visibly trembled. His clothes were instantly soaked in cold sweat. He took a deep breath and asked calmly, Has the news been sent to Duke Ping and Duke Yu? Yes sir, the two dukes have led their troops to surround the Donghuai rear guard. Good. Zhao Changjing suddenly looked excited. Pass the word. The army marches at full speed. Tonight, we're making dumplings out of the main Donghuai force. Yes sir. Dayu, in the palace, Emperor Yu and all the civil and military officials looked grim. They kept drinking tea, and the debate never stopped. Your Majesty, at this point, the only option may be negotiating peace with Donghuai. But Donghuai probably won't agree to give up the two eastern border states. Xianxia, the Minister of Civil Affairs, thought for a moment, then spoke in a low voice. No way. Ji Sui, the Minister of War, stepped forward and said coldly, Since our country's founding, have we ever ceded land to make peace? The army hasn't even been defeated yet. How can we beg for peace? Absolutely ridiculous. Emperor Yu watched the civil and military officials argue with a calm expression. Ji Sui stepped forward and said, Your Majesty, the top priority is to send reinforcements east immediately. Once our reinforcements arrive, we can hold on to our main force. Then, all we need to do is retake Huaining City, and the crisis will be over. We don't have any troops to move. Are you suggesting we send the 100,000 recruits who've only been training for half a month to the battlefield? So what if they're new? Ji Sui retorted. Even if they aren't as good as seasoned vets, they're still 100,000 strong. Xianxia, the head of personnel, sneered. That's just wishful thinking. Don't forget that we have to watch out for the southwest, Xianxia said, watching Emperor Yu's expression. Enough. Emperor Yu spoke softly and glanced around, finally landing on Lin Qiushi. What do you think is the best way to resolve this crisis, Lin? Well. Lin Qiushi looked embarrassed. He hesitated, unable to say a word. Your Majesty, King Xianyong requests an audience. Huh. Let him in, Emperor Yu sighed softly and rubbed his head wearily. He watched Ning Fan stride in. Your son greets his father. At ease. Emperor Yu gestured with his empty hand. He looked at Ning Fan and asked, Hongxiu's moves were pretty slick. Did you capture him? Yes, father, I captured them all. Good. Emperor Yu nodded with satisfaction and looked at Lin Qiushi with some sadness. You're all dismissed. We'll discuss this again tomorrow morning. But don't bring up the idea of ceding land to make peace. Yes. The civil and military officials bowed silently and were about to leave when they heard Ning Fan's puzzled voice. Father, why would you cede land to make peace? Who would you cede territory to? Is Dian attacking? Hearing Ning Fan's question, Ji Sui gave Xianxia a cold look. Your Highness, we're currently discussing the situation in the Eastern Territory. Master Zheng wants to give up our 2 eastern states to make peace with Donghua. Ha! Ning Fan couldn't help but laugh. The civil and military officials who were about to leave all turned to look at him. Why are you laughing, Your Highness? Xianxia glared at Ji Sui and looked at Ning Fan with displeasure. I'm just surprised that the phrase ceding territory to make peace would ever come up in our court. Especially from a second-rank official. If you give 2 states to Donghua today, should you give 2 more states if they attack tomorrow? Ning Fan looked sarcastic. If the Emperor of Donghua takes a liking to your wife and daughter, are you going to send them out to make peace too? You, Xianxia flew into a rage, pointing at Ning Fan, daring to be angry but not speaking. How dare you? Emperor Yu shouted and glared at Ning Fan. The kid had insulted an important official in front of everyone. It was really too much. Ha! Ning Fan bowed nonchalantly to Xianxia. Master Zheng, don't get angry. I was just making a point. Ha! Ji Sui finally couldn't help laughing. The other officials tried to hold it in. Xianxia gave Ning Fan a cold look and said, now that our eastern border is in danger, Your Highness is cracking jokes. Do you think humiliating me will make Donghua withdraw their troops? Ha! Ning Fan laughed. So you do have shame. Did you feel any shame when you suggested ceding our 2 states? They're home to hundreds of thousands of people. And you're just willing to hand them over to Donghua? I just asked about your wife and daughter, and you got so angry. It's ridiculous. Seeing Ning Fan's ruthless attack, the smiles on the faces of the civil and military officials faded. Was this guy really angry? Chapter 54 Ask the Emperor to establish the family instructions. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xianxia's face went from red to purple listening to Ning Fan's stinging remarks. He trembled, his lips turning purple with rage, and he could only point at Ning Fan, speechless. What's that? Cat got your tongue, Mr. Zheng. Still not convinced. We've been a nation for over a century, and we've been at war constantly. We've had our wins and losses. We were even pushed back to the banks of the Li River by those southern barbarians. But tell me, have our emperors ever negotiated peace with foreign powers? Have they ever caved to threats from every direction? Now, my father's worked his tail off to govern and stabilize our borders. Why would you want Dayu to give up land and pay them off? I just gotta ask, Mr. Zheng, whose side are you on? Ning Fan's face was like ice. If his earlier words were a slap in the face, this was like a knife to the heart. Xianxia's expression flickered uncertainly. He bowed to Ning Fan and said, Your Highness, I'm obviously a loyal minister of Dayu. Whether it's peace talks or ceding land, I'm doing it for Dayu. Right now, Dayu's main force is trapped in the eastern front. If we negotiate peace now, we can still save our strength. If our army is wiped out, Donghua will march straight in. The losses would be way worse than just giving up those 2 provinces. If you can fix the situation in the east, Your Highness, I'd give up my own wife and daughter if it came down to it. Xianxian's words were impassioned and inspiring. Ha! Ning Fan sneered. Today we give up 2 provinces, tomorrow we'll give up 3, just so we can sleep easy for a night. And when Dong Huai attacks again, are we gonna fight, or are we gonna make nice? One day, when we've given away all our land, what'll we have left to fight with when they're stronger and we're weaker? Staring at Ning Fan's intense gaze, Xianxia was speechless. Ji Sui, listening to Ning Fan, nodded in agreement, a spark in his eyes. If we can give up land for peace today, then tomorrow, our descendants will be making deals and paying off foreigners. We have a tradition that says our princes can only be princes if they've proven themselves in battle. And every emperor of Dayu has held a spear and ridden a warhorse. Our princes guard the nation, and our kings die for it. And now, Mr. Zheng wants us to give up land for peace. I wonder what our ancestors would think, sitting up in their mausoleums, cursing us for being unworthy. Father, I swear, your son will die right here in front of all these officials. Please, make it a rule, an ancestral precept, that no emperor of Dayu will ever marry for peace, pay tribute, give up land, or pay compensation. We'd rather die than make peace. Ning Fan knelt, staring at Emperor Yu, his face resolute. Well said, Your Highness. Ji Sui was the first on his feet. He stepped forward, knelt beside Ning Fan, and said, Your Majesty, I second the motion. Dayu was built by the sword, and we should cement that principle in the hearts of our people. I second the motion. I second the motion. Lin Qiushi thought for a moment, then seconded as well. Emperor Yu, shaken out of his daze, said, The prince guards the nation, and the king dies for it. Well spoken. That's exactly how I feel. Approved. Emperor Yu waved his hand, admiration in his eyes. For a moment, he saw a glimpse of his eldest son in Ning Fan. Xianxia stood silently, his face burning with shame. What happened today would be all over the capital in no time. Once Emperor Yu announced the ancestral precept, it would become known throughout the land. When the scholars understood what happened here and heard King Xuanyong's words, Xianxia would become a laughingstock. Father, you are wise, Ning Fan said loudly, getting up and stepping aside. He glanced at Xianxia and whispered, Mr. Zheng didn't second the motion, so I guess you're still thinking about those peace talks. Having already made an enemy of Xianxia, he might as well go all the way, didn't really care about offending him, he was just a puppet being controlled by some nobles anyway. If he didn't like the guy, then he would just offend him. As for whether Xianxia resented him, Ning Fan didn't give a damn. The man was on his way out anyway. He'd deal with him directly when the time was right. Your Highness's words were eye-opening. Your Majesty, I am guilty. Xianxia apologized to Emperor Yu, but his eyes shot daggers at Ning Fan. I think Your Highness seems pretty confident. You must have some way to resolve this crisis. Emperor Yu didn't speak, but looked at Ning Fan with interest. He suspected that unless the kid had a trick up his sleeve, he would never have acted so sure of himself. Ha! You're right, Mr. Zheng. You can keep your wife and daughter. This king's already taken care of the problem in the east. Hearing Ning Fan bring up his wife and daughter again, Xianxia nearly passed out with anger. Humph! Your Highness, this is before His Majesty. You shouldn't speak without thinking. I want to know, exactly how did you resolve the situation in the east? Who did you send this time? Not only Emperor Yu looked curious, but so did every official present. Was Ning Fan just bluffing to save face, or had he actually solved the problem? Does it bother you that I was able to solve the problem in the east, Mr. Zheng? Your Highness, don't twist my words. I'm just concerned about state matters. We're talking about the lives of hundreds of thousands of soldiers. This isn't something we can be loose with. Xianxia sneered. It almost felt like he was getting revenge. A little playboy like you could solve the crisis in the east. By now, Huaining City has been lost, and Dayu's army is caught deep behind enemy lines, barely holding on. As for Ning Fan sending someone to resolve the issue, Jing Xian scoffed at that too. The best minds in the entire court were at a loss what to do. And you, a kid, have some great idea. Sure. King Xianyong, have you really solved it? Emperor Yu seemed unable to contain himself, staring at Ning Fan, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Though he still had some doubt, he couldn't help but cling to any shred of hope given Ning Fan's confident air. Reporting to my father, I just seized the red sleeve move. Ning Fan then went on to explain what happened at the red sleeve move, while Emperor Yu and the others listened in amazement. By the end, they were laughing. Ha, wonderful. You really are my Chiliner. I never thought that Donghuai's plan, half a year in the making, would be undone by you in an instant. Great. Simply great. Seeing the joy on Emperor Yu's face, Ning Fan was relieved. But he added casually, Father, I can't say I'm 100% sure about this. If General Donghuai has any doubts and is willing to take a risk, Huaining City is still in danger. That put a damper on Emperor Yu's mood, who turned to Wei Ying next to him and said, if any news arrives from the front tonight, you are to report it immediately, no matter the hour. As you command. Chapter 55, The First Peerless General, Yue Wumu of the Southern Song Dynasty. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After leaving the imperial study, Ning Fan headed out of the palace. He'd barely taken 2 steps when a voice stopped him. Your Highness. Ning Fan turned to see Ji Sui, the Minister of War. Lord Ji. Greetings, Second Highness. Ning Fan nodded with a smile. He'd learned a bit about the Minister of War in the palace, and Ji Wei's intel on him painted a picture of a loyal and upright official. Anything I can help you with, Lord Ji? Just a quick word, Your Highness, Ji Sui said, cupping his hands. I overheard your remarks to the Emperor and was deeply impressed. Just speaking my mind. Glad to have made you laugh, Lord Ji. Your Highness, Zheng is related to Prince Sheng by marriage. You embarrassed him today. Please be careful in the future. Zheng isn't exactly known for his forgiving nature. Thanks for the heads up, Lord Ji. I only held back because of my brother's reputation. Otherwise, the Zheng family would have been pushing up daisies a long time ago. What? Ji Wei looked astonished. Are you saying that Zheng actually? They're just arrogant and entitled. Wow. Ji Sui sighed with regret. Can't entirely blame His Majesty, though. Dayu has been walking a tightrope with powerful factions for years. Most start out with good intentions, but the political game changes people. Some lose control, others get caught up in it, and some become power-hungry, throwing their principles out the window and running wild. Exactly. Power corrupts, turning people into schemers willing to do anything to get ahead. Your Highness. Ji Sui gave a serious bow. Now that you've cleaned house a bit, you've made enemies in the court. Any regrets? Being head of Ji Wei means making enemies. No regrets here. Admiring the world is not worth the candle, but everyone is praised and criticized. Well said. Another official in red robes approached, clearly impressed. If it isn't Minister Xie. Ji Sui recognized Xie Xingxian, the Minister of Industry. Greetings, Second Highness. Thank you, sir. No need for formalities. I was listening to Your Highness and am deeply impressed. A lesson learned today. You're too kind, Minister Xie. Just speaking honestly, Ning Fan replied with a smile. Official or citizen, serving the country should be the goal. I know taking down those corrupt officials ruffled feathers in court. But if I had the power to do something and did nothing, I'd be failing the people. Offending a few corrupt officials while earning the people's respect. I figure you two know which matters more. Well said. The two looked at Ning Fan with newfound respect. Who knew the playboy who made a name for himself in the capital could speak with such conviction? The three walked toward the palace gate, freely sharing their views and finding common ground. It was quite the meeting of the minds. Your Highness, we've reached the gate. We must part ways here. Xianxia seemed reluctant to end the conversation. Thank you, gentlemen. I may visit your Ministry of Works soon. Xianxia's face paled. Your Highness. Has someone in my department broken the law? Relax, Minister Cede. I have extensive materials, big and small, are all on the desk of my Jinui. I also know you two very well, otherwise, I wouldn't have accompanied you all the way here. I plan to build something soon, and I'll need some skilled craftsmen from the Ministry of Industry. I see. Xianxia visibly relaxed, letting out a sigh of relief. A bead of sweat formed on his forehead. Your Highness really scared me there. If you've done nothing wrong, you've got nothing to fear, Ji Sui joked. Anything you're not telling us, Minister Cede? With His Highness, the master of the murder by your side, even if you have no evil intentions in your heart will inevitably tremble when you are engaged by him. The three laughed, then boarded their carriages and went their separate ways. Back at his mansion, Ning Fan rushed to his bedroom and opened the system. He still had 1,000 merit points, enough to summon a top-tier warrior. System, redeem a peerless general summoning card. Success, Master. Summon now. Summon. Congratulations, Master, you've acquired Yue Fei, the famous general of the Song Dynasty. Yue Fei? Ning Fan was shocked. I summoned Yue Wumu. System, show me Yue Fei's attributes. Please wait. Name, Yue Fei, Dynasty, Song Dynasty, Loyalty, Unwavering, Strength, 101, Intelligence, 86, Command, 107, Politics, 68, Army, Yuejia Army, including the Beiwei Army, Selected Front Army, Xianxia Army, Tabai Army, Yi Army, etc. Weapon, Li Chuan Spear, Mount, White Dragon Horse, Skills, Yue Family Spearmanship, Pegasus Eagle Shooting, Attributes, Martial Saint, Title Attribute, +3 Strength, Infantry and Cavalry Expertise, increases morale and endurance for his troops when fighting cavalry, Alien Punishment, +1 Command, +3 Strength for troops, and increased endurance when fighting foreign forces. Ning Fan was stunned. Attributes over 100. That seems a bit overpowered, right? He and Yue Wumu were basically neighbors in his past life, both hailing from that area, so he knew his story well. Yue Fei learned from martial arts masters Zhou Tong and Qin Guan. He was ambidextrous, incredibly strong, and became famous at a young age. Later, he repeatedly achieved great victories and was posthumously named a martial saint by Zhu Yuanzhang. Before the Qin dynasty, Yue Fei temples were all over the country and he was widely revered. During the Wanli period, Emperor Shenzong of the Ming dynasty even titled him the Three Realms Jingma Great Emperor, Zhongxiao Miao Fa Tianzuan Yuexing Emperor. The title of martial saint alternated between Guan Yu and Yue Fei, and they were often honored together. But when the Qin dynasty was established, they tried to erase anti-Qin sentiments by demolishing Yue Fei temples and promoting Guan Yu as the sole martial saint. The reason being that Yue Fei had fought against the Jin, battling the Jurchens, who were the Manchus' ancestors. Chapter 56 The Assassin Attacks, the 5-Step Flying Halberd. You are listening at novelfull.audio. System, where's Yue Wumu at? Reporting, Master, Yue Fei has entered the world and will surrender within a month. A month? Ning Fan frowned. Dian Wei and Jia Su showed up in a day, and Zhuge Liang was practically on his doorstep. Why a whole month for Yue Fei? Whatever, a month it is. Ning Fan exited the system, grabbed Sun Tzu's Art of War from his system stash, and started reading. Studying military strategy before bed had become a habit. The sun dipped below the horizon, and the moon rose. Early winter was closing in, late autumn looking grim. The night wind howled, and dead leaves swirled under the moonlight. Woof! Woof woof woof! Woof woof! Dogs barking shattered the night silence, and 7 or 8 figures zipped through the moonlight. Where'd these mutts come from? I'll kill them. Hold it, the leader, in black, glared. Missions ago, no messing around. Xianxia Palace is heavily guarded. Prep the crossbows, 1 shot is all we get. We're close to the palace. If we're spotted, the royal guard will be here in 15 minutes, tops. That's all the time we've got. Remember, once the job's done, no last stands. You know what happens if you do. Yes, the men in black acknowledged, then hurried toward the Xianxia Palace. These guys were all martial arts masters with serious parkour skills. Regular palace guards wouldn't stand a chance. In seconds, 8 assassins slipped into the Xianxia Palace, heading for Ning Fan's room. The target's in that building. Crossbows ready. As soon as the leader gave the word, they drew their crossbows and aimed at the brightly lit window. Inside the room, Ning Fan yawned, feeling sleepy, and set down Art of War. He hadn't been to the training grounds in a couple days. He should go tomorrow. He'd bring up the farming system with his dad at court in the morning, and the pig farm. Chu Yuan plow. That baby will make the land sing. Add some sweet potatoes, and we can feed 500,000 soldiers. I wonder if Shen Wansan got his hands on that salt mine. Suddenly, he heard crossbow bolts whizzing through the air, shattering the window and flying towards him. Crap! Assassin! The guards outside yelled in alarm. Ning Fan heard the bowstrings twang and dove for cover. Several arrows whistled past, burying themselves in the wall. He lay on the floor, shocked and sweating. Your Highness, you okay? Dian Wei burst in from the next room, looking anxious. He sighed in relief when he saw Ning Fan unharmed. Phew! I'm good. Ning Fan stood, brushed himself off, and his eyes went cold. Alai, let's go see who this is. Your Highness. What, you think you can't protect me? Dian Wei grinned sheepishly. Your Highness, with me here, ain't nobody gonna touch you. They stepped out of the building. In the courtyard, 8 assassins were tangling with palace guards. Despite being outnumbered, they were holding their own. Guards were already bleeding out on the ground. Ning Fan's eyes burned with rage. Alai, take them out. Make sure no one gets away. As you wish. Dian Wei licked his lips, radiating menace. He hefted his twin halberds and charged. Ning Fan, in a nightgown, stood on the steps, watching the fight. Who sent these guys? Xianxia. Orchan Mansion. With Dian Wei in the mix, the tide turned. The assassins realized this black-faced dude was something special, and they got serious. Kill the target. 7, 8, you go. We'll hold these guys off. Got it. 2 figures glanced at each other and headed for Ning Fan. Lin Yong appeared silently beside Ning Fan, eyes narrowed at the approaching assassins, like they were already dead. Dian Wei swung his halberds, swatting away the assassins. He charged, blocking the path of the two. 2 swings, and they were cut in half. Damn! Lin Yong gasped. Dian Zhuangshi, you're a beast. Looks like your brute strength is at the master level. Uncle Lin, you seem pretty handy yourself. Heh. Lin Yong chuckled awkwardly. Second master, you know me. I got a few moves, but nothing special. Huh. Ning Fan felt a bit better. He looked at the remaining assassins, itching to join in. But he resisted. He'd been training, even mastered the first move of the 13 fatal shots. But compared to these assassins, he was outmatched. Still, thanks to the training, his reactions were way better. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dodged those crossbow bolts, and he'd be dead. Dian Wei, try to take them alive. Got it. Dian Wei pulled back his halberds, striking with the shafts instead. Within minutes, he'd knocked the remaining guys on their butts. What power! All brawn, no brain. Don't get close. Kill Xian Yong. The leader glared at Ning Fan, then rushed forward. Your Highness, watch out. Dian Wei flinched, clearing the path, but the leader was too fast. 5-step flying halberd. Lin Yong stepped forward, but Dian Wei yelled and a miniature halberd appeared in his hand. He hurled it, striking the leader in the back. Die. Ning Fan moved. He grabbed a spear and stabbed, piercing the leader's chest. The leader's face contorted in shock, and he died, eyes wide open. Ding! 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 A series of bells rang out. Ning Fan, Lin Yong, and the others tensed and looked toward the palace. Chapter 57 Your Highness, why is there blood on your body? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is that, the Taihuang bell, right outside Jingde Hall? How many times has it rung? 5 times, Your Highness. Ding! When the 6th ring echoed, Ning Fan's face turned serious. Yuan City had a bell and drum tower, used for morning bells and evening drums. Every morning, the Taihuang bell in front of Jingde Hall signaled the start of the morning court, but this bell was also used for major events, the emperor's death, a prince's demise, or a coup, and Dayu's law dictated the number of rings for each situation: 1 ring for morning court, 3 for a deceased prince, 6 for a royal heavyweight like the queen or queen mother, 9 rings meant the emperor had died, a rebellion was underway, or a national war had broken out. Now, it had stopped at 6. Dayu's law stated that all officials ranked 5th and above had to report to the palace within the time it took to burn 1 incense stick after hearing 6 rings. What the? The queen mother's been gone for years, and the queen's fine. Could a prince have died? Lin Yong frowned, sensing something was off. Uncle Lin, have you forgotten that according to Dayu's law, anyone who travels 800 miles across the border or possesses the emperor's gold medal can ring the Grand Emperor bell? You're saying. It must be news from the east. Ning Fan's eyes narrowed as he watched Dian Wei subdue several men in black. Turn them over to the Jinui for interrogation tonight. Your Highness. They're all suicide soldiers. Poison capsules hidden in their teeth. If I hadn't acted fast, they'd all be dead. Dian Wei's face was grim. Whether they're assassins or suicide soldiers, let the Jinui pry it out of them. Make sure the guards who died protecting the mansion are compensated well, give them extra silver. Yes, sir. Lin Yong nodded, then looked at Ning Fan. Second Master, if you're going to the palace, you should take Dian Wei with you for protection. No need. Dian Wei will deliver the survivor and the bodies to the Jinui. Don't worry about my safety. With that, Ning Fan mounted the purple lightning flying dragon and shot out of the mansion. My lord. In a dark alley, Zhuanzhu materialized before Ning Fan, kneeling respectfully. You know what happened tonight, right? I apologize for my tardiness, my lord. Forget the apology for now. Find out who these guys are and who's pulling the strings. Yes, sir. Ning Fan rode out of the alley, Zhuanzhu escorting him to the palace gates before vanishing back into the shadows, inside the imperial study. Emperor Yu had been up all night, poring over memorials. If Ning Fan was right, the situation in the east would come to a head tonight, and a war report would soon reach the capital, but whether it would be a victory or a defeat, remained to be seen. Time dragged on, and despite the urging of his concubines, Emperor Yu stayed put, eventually falling asleep at his desk. The ringing of the bell startled him awake. He threw on his robe and strode out of the palace, his booming voice echoing through the halls. Wei Ying. Who rang the Taihuang bell? Your Majesty. It's joyous news. Wei Ying stumbled over, his face beaming. A great victory in the east. The 3 dukes crushed the main force of Donghuai in a single blow, wiping out over 100,000 enemies. What? Ha 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 ha. Fantastic. Emperor Yu was stunned for a moment, then burst into laughter. Jingli, the scout who delivered the victory report, approached and presented it respectfully. Your Majesty, Lord Zhenguogong requested that I personally inform you that in this battle, Dayu cut off the retreat of Donghuai's 300,000 troops, and our armies encircled and annihilated 170,000. Donghuai's army is in full retreat, and our troops are exploiting the victory. His Royal Highness Xianxia Wang's Jinui deserves the lion's share of the credit in this battle. Emperor Yu listened to the scout's enthusiastic report, his smile widening with each word. Excellent. Understood. You may rest now. When the three dukes return, I will reward them according to their merits. Thank you, Your Majesty. Jing Li grinned. Wei Ying whispered a reminder, Your Majesty, the Grand Emperor's bell has rung, and the civil and military officials have gathered in Jingde Hall. Then to Jingde Hall we shall go. In the hall, the officials stood in respectful silence. Emperor Yu shared the news, triggering a wave of excitement. Bravo, Zhenguogong. Thanks to this victory, Dayu has another unparalleled war god. Duke Xiao's strategic brilliance is unmatched. Of all of Dayu's generals, only the military god Duke Jinghua and Prince Sheng are his equals. The court officials showered praise on the victors, and Emperor Yu's smile never faltered. The East had always been a problem, but with the situation now stable, a huge weight had been lifted. Ahem. Emperor Yu coughed, and the ministers snapped to attention, the hall falling silent. This victory in the East is the greatest Dayu has ever known. Xianxia Wang deserves the most credit. The ministers were stunned and looked at Ning Fan in disbelief. Your Majesty, what does the Eastern victory have to do with Xianxia Wang? Did Xianxia Wang even go to the East? Giving him the most credit. Your Majesty, that's a bit much. The officials grumbled, while Lin Qiushi and other key ministers looked at Ning Fan with mixed emotions. They knew the truth. After today, Xianxia Wang would be second only to Prince Sheng in the emperor's eyes. Humph. Emperor Yu dismissed the complaints. If it weren't for Xianxia Wang's Jinui relaying vital intelligence, Dayu's Huainan city would have fallen, and 200,000 of our troops would have been trapped. What? The Jinui relaying intelligence. The ministers turned to Ning Fan in astonishment. The Jinui had only been established days ago. Could it already be so powerful? I congratulate Your Majesty. In Dayu, every prince is exceptional. Congratulations, Your Majesty. The officials quickly changed their tune, flattering Emperor Yu. Ning Fan stood silently before the throne. Xianxia Wang, tell me, what reward do you desire? I require no reward, Father. It was my duty and responsibility. Ning Fan's tone was neither obsequious nor arrogant. Ji Sui, the Minister of War, looked at Ning Fan with admiration. Blood stains? Your Highness, why are there blood stains on your clothes? A gasp of surprise filled the hall. Silence fell as all eyes turned to Ning Fan. Chapter 58 Black Ice Stage, Ning Fan's Counterattack. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Emperor Yu was floored. He shot up from his dragon throne and descended the platform, his eyes locked on the bloodstains on Ning Fan. What happened? Reporting, Father, Ning Fan said, bowing respectfully. Before I arrived at the palace, 8 assassins in black infiltrated Prince Xuanyong's residence and attacked me with crossbows and arrows. The guards fought them off, sacrificing themselves to protect me and eliminate all 8 assassins. This blood is from the attackers. What? Emperor Yu's eyes narrowed, his expression thunderous. An intimidating aura filled the room. Who would dare assassinate a prince of the realm, a first-rank county prince? And to have them breach the residence itself. Such audacity. Jing Li. Here, Your Majesty. How is the capital being guarded under your command? Emperor Yu roared. Assassins striking at the prince's residence, attempting to kill him right at his doorstep. This is preposterous. Prince Xuanyong's residence is just outside the palace walls. My own doorstep. Jing Li, looking terrified, knelt and said, Your Majesty, please calm down. I will conduct a thorough investigation and ensure justice for His Highness. Humph. You have 3 days to unmask the mastermind behind this. I will not rest until the truth is revealed. Father, Ning Fan said, stepping forward with a faint smile. There's no need to be so angry. I anticipated something like this might happen. He glanced at the assembled officials, a hint of amusement in his eyes. I know I've ruffled some feathers lately, but I didn't expect some people would resort to such underhanded tactics. Well, 2 can play at that game. Let me tell you, the Jinui are already stacking up heads. The butcher's knife might fall at any moment. So, those of you contemplating action, best hurry. I'll even give you an opening. From this moment forward, I, Prince Xianyong, am dismissing all guards from my residence. Come at me with whatever dirty tricks you've got. Let's see if you losers can actually take my head. The courtiers' faces paled. Emperor Yu frowned and muttered, nonsense. Father, there's no need to trouble Commander Jing with the investigation, Ning Fan said, his voice calm but sending shivers down everyone's spines. The investigation is my concern. I'll handle this myself. Emperor Yu nodded, his eyes gleaming with murderous intent. Then investigate thoroughly. Anyone involved, regardless of who they are, will face death without mercy. Ning Fan nodded. He had no intention of following official channels. They wanted to play dirty. He wouldn't hold back either. Father, I have another matter to report. Speak. I propose implementing a farming system within the new army. I seek your approval. Farming system? Emperor Yu looked puzzled. Ning Fan presented him with a document. After reading it, Emperor Yu's eyes lit up. Yes, this farming system is truly beneficial to the realm. There's plenty of unused land around the capital. If we can reclaim and cultivate it, it could, in time, become a major granary for Dayu. Gentlemen, take a look as well. Emperor Yu had the document circulated. The courtiers were impressed, many looking at Ning Fan with newfound respect. This playboy prince was about to make a comeback. Morning court adjourned, and the ministers hurried home to catch up on sleep. As Ning Fan left the palace, he saw Dian Wei and Dian Wei waiting for him. Let's go to the Jinui headquarters. Your Highness, we've already made a breakthrough. Oh, Ning Fan was surprised. Had they really found the mastermind so quickly? The Chen family? No, Jiang Wei said, shaking his head. It's Marquis Xuanwu. While the Chen family may not be directly responsible, they are certainly connected. The day before yesterday, Marquis Xuanwu met with several figures from the court at the Chen residence. These are all known as assassins. Your Highness, should we seal off the Xuanwu estate? Not yet. A sneer crossed Ning Fan's face. The Jinui will hold back. They want to play games. I'll give them a game. Do you have any concrete evidence against Marquis Xuanwu? Reporting to Your Highness, Marquis Xuanwu has been retired from court for years. He's extremely careful, leaving no obvious traces. Interesting. Ning Fan chuckled and looked at Jiang Wei. From now on, the Jinui's primary mission is to infiltrate neighboring countries, focusing on their military affairs and governments. Provide them with whatever they need, money, people, whatever it takes. Your Highness, our intelligence network within Dayu isn't fully established yet. Isn't it a bit ambitious to expand outwards immediately? That's a fair point. Ning Fan nodded thoughtfully. In that case, you'll focus on domestic intelligence, building the Jinui's network within our borders first. Bring Jia Su into the Jinui to assist you. We will create another organization within Jinui, called the Black Ice Platform. Jia Su will oversee military intelligence, focusing on infiltration, spying, and inciting rebellion. Yes. Jiang Wei's expression grew serious, and he nodded solemnly. Ning Fan tapped the table, saying, the Black Ice Platform must be kept secret within the Jinui. We'll start with Huainan. I want complete military intelligence on Huainan within 3 months. Yes. Ning Fan left the Jinhui headquarters and headed back to Xianyong Palace instead of visiting the new army camp as planned. He met with Jia Su and told him about the creation of the Black Ice platform. With a strategist like Jia Su in charge, Ning Fan felt confident. When it came to ruling a country, Jia Su might not be the best. However, if it came to some underhanded means, Jia Su can crush the civil officials. My lord. Ning Fan waited in the back garden for half a day before Zhuanzhu finally appeared. He bowed respectfully and said, I've discovered that the 8 assassins belonged to an organization called the Blood Demon Pavilion, hired by Marquis Xuanwu. Good. Ning Fan nodded and asked, how is the underworld progressing? Reporting, Oxhead and Horseface have returned to their positions, the Black and White Impermanents are undergoing assessment, and one of the 10 kings of hell has been chosen. In that case, let's start with the Blood Demon Pavilion. It's time for the underworld to show its face. The Blood Demon Pavilion will be used to evaluate the Black and White Impermanents. Those who show skill will be promoted, and the incompetent will be demoted. As you wish. Oh, and one more thing. Tomorrow morning, leave the head of Marquis Xuanwu's son next to his bed. Chapter 59 Asking the Blood Demon Pavilion to help. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Mansion, Xuanwu Ho Jihong and Chen Rui, the Chen family's third son, sat up all night in the palace. Their faces were grim, and they remained silent. Sir, the news is out. Spit it out. The emperor's bell rang last night celebrating the great victory in the east. Duke Xinguo's army wiped out 170,000 enemies and will soon return to court. Also, King Xianyong was attacked last night, and His Majesty is furious. Hearing the butler's report, Chen Rui narrowed his eyes. Is Xianyong dead? No. No. The butler was sweating. I heard 10+ guards died in Prince Xianyong's palace, but the prince is unharmed. Today in court, Xianyong was still spouting nonsense, saying, he's dismissing all his guards and waiting for the assassin to come back. And the butler hesitated, choosing his words carefully. Many court officials have conveniently placed their problems on his desk. No one knows when he'll snap. That's careless. What about the assassin? All 8 are dead and dragged to the Jinhui prison, I heard. Chen Rui and Ji Hong exchanged a look. He told the butler, go. Keep your ear to the ground. Report anything new immediately. Yes, sir. After the butler left, Chen Rui's expression darkened. He sneered. Dismissing all his guards. Just waiting for the next attack. The kid's got a big head. Master Ho, the kid's just provoking us. Ji Hong's eyes were equally cold. He said calmly, Third Master, no need to get worked up. No matter how much Ning Fan struts, he's just that man's pawn. But this victory in the east threw a wrench in our plans. Once Xiao Changjing and the others get back, things will be even tougher. His Majesty's gunning for us. We can't just sit here waiting to get picked off. A dangerous light flickered in Chen Rui's eyes. After a long pause, he asked, what's the situation down south? The king of Huainan's in touch with people down there, but no details yet. Tell them to hurry it up, or that guy might come after us first. Right. Ji Hong nodded. Then, as if a thought struck him, he murmured, Third Master, it's been over 2 weeks since Fourth Master came home. Any news? Fourth. Chen Fang. Chen Rui looked surprised, then shook his head. Nothing since he got transferred to the new army camp. Ji Hong smiled. I heard Fourth Master took a red sleeve entertainer with him. He's living the high life. Humph, the guy's a libertine, all booze and broads. He'll end up in the gutter sooner or later. Chen Rui's face was dismissive. There might have even been a touch of jealousy. Seeing Chen Rui didn't want to discuss the subject, Ji Hong smoothly changed the topic. Third Master, those guys who attacked King Xianyong last night were my men. If Ning Fan can't find the real mastermind, will he come after us again? What are you suggesting? Since King Xianyong wants to play it that way, let's make it happen. A murderous glint flashed in Marquis Xuanwu's eyes. Third Master ever heard of the Blood Fiend Pavilion? Top assassin organization in the world. Of course. Blood Demon Pavilion's been famous for years. You're not saying, you can get them to take the job? Third Master, I bought those 8 last night from the Blood Demon Pavilion. The Blood Demon Pavilion failed. Chen Rui's eyes widened. He snapped, those Jinyui are like cockroaches. Each one's a martial arts master. Emperor Yu must be using his secret muscle. But even the Blood Demon Pavilion failed. Sounds like popping Ning Fan's cherry is harder than it looks. Third Master, there's something you should know. The Blood Demon Pavilion's got gold, silver, and bronze level assassins. Those 8 last night were all bronze. The bronze guys aren't even official members. I'm tight with the master of the Blood Fiend Pavilion. I can drop some serious cash to get some silver or even gold level hitters to come forward. That's true. Chen Rui looked pleased. I didn't know you were connected to the Blood Demon Pavilion. The Blood Demon Pavilion's got a killer rep and a ton of masters. If we can get them on our side. Master Marquis, take them a few thousand in gold and tell them I appreciate their efforts. Ji Hong was stunned for a moment, secretly amazed at the Chen family's wealth. He nodded. Leave it to me. Prince Xuanyong's mansion, a thatched cottage. Ning Fan and Zhuge Liang were playing chess. Their minds weren't on the game. Sir, here's the list of officials I got from the Ministry of Personnel. I've had a lot of officials visit me these past few days, but most of them are just kiss asses. Now that the Minister of Revenue spot's still up for grabs, things could change. Zhuge Liang took the list, studied it carefully, then slowly put it down with a smile. My lord, since there's no suitable person in the capital, why not bring someone in from out of town? Also, the position of Right Prime Minister is still vacant, and all the candidates are from the big families. His Majesty wants to promote his loyalists, but they lack the qualifications and respect. He can't find someone who'll impress the public. So, His Majesty's willing to let the left Prime Minister dominate rather than fill the position of Right Prime Minister. Sir, what are you getting at? Ning Fan looked puzzled. Zhuge Liang explained, I have a candidate for Right Prime Minister in mind for you. Ning Fan studied Zhuge Liang's enigmatic expression. He grinned. Are you planning to come out of the hills yourself? No, Zhuge Liang chuckled. My lord, do you remember the former tutor, Mr. Shenli? Of course. A stern figure wearing simple clothes and holding a ruler appeared in Ning Fan's mind. He had been his father's teacher. When he was a boy, this man served as the chief wine of the Imperial Academy and taught a group of princes. He was half his teacher as well. The former Ning Fan was naturally rebellious and insulted the emperor's imperial teacher in class, but Mr. Shen never got angry. Instead, he blamed himself for not teaching well, so he took him on a trip for half a month and taught him personally. He remembered Mr. Shen waving that ruler around all the time but rarely using it. Sir, are you suggesting we ask Mr. Shen to come out of retirement and serve as Right Prime Minister? That's right, Zhuge Liang nodded. He spoke with respect. Mr. Shen has the integrity of a true scholar. He's a gifted writer, but he's not a fool. He may be physically weak, but he has a strong will. He established a school outside the palace walls to educate those who could not afford it. He's a champion for the poor, and well respected among scholars everywhere. If we can get Mr. Shen to come out of retirement, we'll send shockwaves through the court. His Majesty won't say no. Chapter 60 New System Task, Inspecting the Military Camp. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ning Fan agreed with Zhuge Liang immediately. This guy had a reputation throughout the land as a teacher to the world. Lots of scholars, even famous Confucian ones, had studied under Master Shen. If they could actually get Master Shen to come out and take on those aristocratic families, it would cause way less trouble. Ding, initiating system task, secure a suitable prime minister. Task requirements, within 1 month, persuade Shenli to accept the role of right prime minister. Task reward, system upgrade, unlocking the system store. The sudden system notification froze Ning Fan in his tracks. A system upgrade? The system could level up. His eyes lit up as he stared at Zhuge Liang. Kong Ming, any idea where to find Mr. Shen these days? My lord, Mr. Shen's living the quiet life in a small town south of the Yangtze River. Runs a little school, got a few students. The old man's really living the dream of having students everywhere. Ning Fan chuckled, thinking it over. He's been out of the political game for ages, though. And he's 70 now. Who knows if he'd be up for it. My lord, I got to know Master Shen pretty well when I was studying down south. I'd be happy to go and see if I can sway him. Perfect. Ning Fan's eyes gleamed. In that case, you work your magic with Mr. Shen, and I'll handle the emperor. My lord, Chen Qinghe has a solid reputation for integrity. He'd be a good fit for Minister of Revenue or Governor of Nanhe County. He can handle important positions. I'll head to the palace tomorrow and talk to my dad. The sun was setting, painting the horizon red. No geese flying around, but still a pretty picture. Ning Fan left the cottage with Dian Wei and headed for the west camp outside the city. Your Highness. Qin Xiong and the other generals stood at attention, waiting for Ning Fan. Li Xiaoning heard the news and hurried over from Qilin camp to the main tent. Your Highness, Yuan told me about the assassination attempt last night. Are you alright? Li Xiaoning asked, stepping forward to check for injuries. She seemed relieved when she didn't find any marks. Ahem. Ning Fan cleared his throat, feeling awkward. Li Xiaoning blushed, realizing how forward she'd been. She said softly, Your Highness, what brings you here? Get all the generals together. Yes, sir. Qin Xiong beat the drums to summon everyone. Soon, the leaders of all 4 camps were gathered in the tent. Gentlemen. Ning Fan sat down and looked around the room. Starting today, all 100,000 troops in the West Camp will begin a military farming system. Military farming system. Nie Feng looked confused, and the other generals shared his puzzled expression. Basically, we train and farm at the same time. A lot of our new recruits are farmers anyway, and there's plenty of unused land around the capital. From now on, besides the 2 hours of training each morning and evening, the troops will spend 2 or 3 hours clearing land. Clearing land. Nie Feng, Qiu Tianlu, and the others exchanged glances, looking less than thrilled. Your Highness, the men are already worn out from training. If we make them clear land. I'm not done yet. Ning Fan said with a smile. The land we clear, we plant. Each battalion's responsible for a section, and the soldiers get 40% of the harvest. Plus, from now on, the new army gets 3 meals a day. And at least one of those meals will be meat soup. The generals were taken aback, and even Qin Xiong spoke up. Your Highness, feeding 100,000 troops 3 meals a day will cost nearly 10,000 more stones of grain. And the meat. Don't worry, I'll handle it. Ning Fan waved his hand, stood up, and said, for now, since we don't have farm tools yet, everyone can just grab their weapons and start clearing weeds and brush. Yes, sir. The order went out, and all 100,000 soldiers were put to work. A lot of the guys were unhappy about having to spend 2 hours a day clearing land. We're already beat from training, and now this? Whose bright idea was this? Damn it, I joined the army to win glory, not to farm. One sergeant grumbled, and his squad leader walked over. That's an order from the prince himself. Got a problem with that? The prince? You mean Prince Xianyong? That's right. Ahem, no problem here, that the atmosphere in the army had improved recently. Even though the training was tough, the soldiers felt like they were learning real skills, and they were starting to admire Ning Fan. They were especially pumped for the military competition in 3 months. Hearing that the order came from Ning Fan himself, the sergeant's attitude changed instantly. He glared at the first sergeant and said loudly, "All right, men, I didn't finish. Yes, we'll be spending time clearing land every day, but 40% of the profits from that land go straight to the troops." What? We get a cut? Sergeant, you serious? Other soldiers started gathering around, eager to hear the news. Dead serious. The sergeant said. And that's not all. Starting today, we're going from 2 meals a day to 3. And His Highness said we get a bowl of meat soup every day. Meat soup? Am I dreaming? Nope. The sergeant grinned. His Highness is in the main tent right now. If you don't believe me, go ask him yourself. Wouldn't dare, I trust His Highness. Heh, the soldiers smiled, stunned. 3 meals a day. That was something they could barely even dream about. Only the fancy folks in the capital ate that well. And meat soup. They only got a whiff of that stuff during holidays. Even if you got a bowl, you saved it for your wife and kids. Now they could have meat soup every day. Ning Fan spent the day at the camp, practicing with his spear and checking things out, until Xianxia sent word. Your Highness, the pig farm is built. Really? Lord Shen's waiting outside the camp. The farm's just a few miles from here. Let's go take a look. Ning Fan hopped on Purple Lightning and sped off to the pig farm.